guys, today it is time for another Top 5 Wednesday. This week's topic are your top 5 books to read without a synopsis, and I actually found this topic way harder than I thought I would. I remember saying it a lot in the past, like saying you should really go into this without a synopsis, either in reviews or wrap-ups, but obviously now I cannot remember at all which books that were. We're just gonna go with the ones that kind of came to mind for me while browsing through my shelf, while looking through my Goodreads. Let's just get into it. These are in no particular order because that would just feel weird. So first off, I have Illuminated by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I think this book is something that you should really read without the synopsis because all you need to know is that it's science fiction, it takes place in space, and that it is mixed media. I think that's all you need to know. If that sounds interesting to you, pick it up. If not, don't. I think really you should just go into this not knowing anything about it other than that. I think that makes for the best reading experience, and it definitely was the best reading experience for me. Then we have The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick. This is another book that I went into blind as well. I think this is just another book where you only have to know that this is a graphic novel and it's kind of a whimsical story. I think everything else is just something you should kind of be surprised by. I already feel like if the cover kind of speaks to you and just this art style, then that's enough. I can't really explain why. That's just kind of a feeling, and that's just kind of what I felt while reading it. Like, I was really happy that I just didn't know anything about it. What I really liked is that the art style is just these pencil drawings basically, and it's always on a full page. And then if there's text, then it's like this. Sometimes it's less text, like this. Yeah, I really kind of like it. It's not like a graphic novel where you have like speech bubbles or anything like that. So I feel like if the cover and this kind of art style and general storytelling style speaks to you, then that's enough for you to pick it up. Then I have The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. I think because this is quite a popular book on BookTube, a lot of you will already know what it is about, but I think this is another book where the synopsis doesn't spoil it for you or ruin the book for you, but I just really think that you don't need the synopsis to pick this up. I think all you need to know about this is that it's a kind of revenge story, and it deals a lot with rape and sexual abuse, sexual violence, and everything like that. It has a very strong main character. You don't need to know what actually happened or what will actually happen at all. I think this is everything you need to know. Then I have a book that's another one that you will definitely know the synopsis of because everybody and their mother talked about this book, and I'm really glad. But I feel like at this point, if I were to recommend this to someone who is not as involved in the book community, then I would say nothing about the synopsis, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I think, and I'm gonna talk about the synopsis right now because I'm like 100% sure all of you know it, but I don't think that you need to know that the main character is a black girl that lives in a kind of black neighborhood but goes to a school that's a lot of white people. I don't think you have to know that it is a book where her best friend gets shot. I think all of these things are absolutely irrelevant. I would just say you have to read this book because it's super important. I think it's really good if you just experience it like that, and it's a book that everybody should read, and so I feel like it's something that you should just give to people and be like, read this. The events in it can be like really triggering or just in general really like shocking, and obviously you have to be kind of careful with that. And finally, I have a book that I read very recently, and that is Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. I just think that this is another book where you don't need to know anything about it except for that it deals a lot with sexual identity and gender identity, friendship, family, a little bit of faith, and these things are just what you need to know about this book. You don't need to know what happens at all, how this book starts, what it deals with. I think this is everything you need to know, and you either are like, oh, this sounds interesting, I really want to read it, or you don't. I think for me, already reading the title and seeing the cover, I knew immediately that this is a book that I had to read. And so, yeah, I feel like this is another book where the synopsis does not spoil anything, but it's just one where you don't need it. You don't need to know what is happening in the book. All you need to know is that it deals with these topics and that it does that very well. And these are, I think, my top 5 books to read without the synopsis. There's probably a lot more books that I just didn't think of this minute that you can or should really read without the synopsis, but I think these 5 books are a really good representation of different genres and different topics that you should all go into not knowing anything about it. Let me know some of your favorite books that you feel like you should go into without synopsis, or just in general, let's kind of discuss this topic of how there's books like We Were Liars, where one person started being like, you shouldn't know anything about this, and then everybody else said the same thing, and I 100% disagree, because if someone had actually told me what this is about, I would not have read it and really would have saved time, because I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And then there's other books where really people talk so much about it and talk so much about what it's about that you feel like you already know the whole book. So maybe this could open a bit of a discussion. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!